Dianne. Welcome back to Biters after a long hiatus. I am barely surviving an Alaskan winter.
Ditto. It is cold here.
And we have a special guest from New York, and I bet it's not very warm there either.
Actually, it's about 60 degrees right now. It's supposed to get to be 72 tomorrow, I think.
No
What?
way!
Yep.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's going to be great. It snowed. We had like 5 inches of snow 2 days ago, and it's going to be 70 tomorrow.
So okay, that used to be our weather, is like sunny, 70 degrees with a chance of snow.
By the way, for those that don't know, this is Tom.
Thank you, Thomas O'Mara.
Like us. You need an introduction.
Oh, your Walker Stalker obsessed roaming field reporter.
I was going to say our roving field reporter, exactly.
And I'm live from Mexico on the cruise. No,
we might have been able to manage that if I had not been otherwise detained over Christmas break. Dear God.
I don't want to know why you were detained.
Oh, well, you know, because it was truly, literally Christmas break in our house. Wah, wah. Husband and all
this. Oh, that's right.
So I did post on the Facebook page, and I'll just say it for the people who are listening who may not look at Facebook. My husband decided to take a dive off of a large round bale of hay on Christmas Eve. So actually spent 10 days in the hospital. So I was a little bit distracted. I wasn't thinking about podcasting at all.
Yeah, no.
Playing the nurse.
Right. Playing the bitchy nurse wife. The one who walked in on...
I still think I should have sent him a bell.
You probably should have. It's too late now, man. He went back to work last week, so...
Oh.
But,
so,
I mean,
they were saying I'm particularly quiet because I've been working 8 days a week. I'm starting a new job March 1st, so I'm trying to wrap up my old job. So I'm kind of frazzled and tired and wired, and I'm
imbibing.
Yeah,
yes.
I'm like a bumblebee doing the backstroke in a margarita. I'm a little bit buzzed and extra salty. So
Wow.
you'll have to forgive me tonight.
Did you rehearse that one? That was really good.
I never would have been able to get that out. And on the first try, this is not edited.
Right?
Well, I was like, I'm a little bit buzzed and extra salty, and I was like, we had margaritas last night after seeing Black Panther, so I was like,
was it good?
Bumblebee. Oh, it was so good.
Have you seen it yet, Tom?
No, you guys know I'm not into those Marvel type movies, so I don't even know if I'm gonna see it, to be honest.
Really? It's got rave reviews, and Dianne Guerrera's in it.
Dianne Guerrera is amazing in it.
I know I'll probably end up seeing it because everybody is saying it's like the best thing on earth.
Yeah.
And it made like $300 million this weekend.
Yes. Like the highest grossing film ever, right?
Fifth highest.
Fifth highest. Of course.
It's close.
Says the woman who said she was completely without notes and not rehearsed.
Well, okay, there is a running bet in our household of whether Avengers Infinity Wars 1 will be the highest grossing box office this year or Black Panther. I say Black Panther.
I say Black Panther.
I'm keeping track of it hardcore. So
well, the way it's going, I don't think much is going to beat Black Panther.
Yeah.
And I will absolutely concede if Infinity Wars does beat it out, because I mean, like, Infinity Wars looks amazing. So, and they're going to have Guardians of the Galaxy on Infinity Wars, and just it's going to be huge. But I think Black Panther has some cultural advantageous things going on. So
yes, they seized a cultural moment, definitely.
Yeah. Absolutely. So I think it's going to be a juggernaut because of that. So, but back to Biters.
Well,
speaking of Dianne Guerrera.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to know that my husband, who watches the sports ball about as much as Marnell and I both do, is calling this our preseason special, which I thought was really funny.
I like it.
So,
although it's actually more of a postseason wrap-up.
Right? It's sort of a pre-season special, post-season wrap-up. I like that. It's both of those
Yeah.
things. So
So,
let's just go ahead
ratings.
let's launch into ratings. So Tom is the guest. Why don't you go ahead and tell us how you rated the first half of season 8?
All right. I'm normally the highest, I think, of all of us. So I gave it 4 and yet I smiles out of 5.
Oh, nice. And you have to describe what you did on your trip.
Oh, I was gonna do gonna do that in the potpourri.
Please do. Please hang on to that.
I have it in my notes.
Nice.
Marnell, what about you guys?
How about you?
I'm going to be a buzzkill and rate it 3.2. Winslow 2.0.
Wow, that's really low.
That is really low.
And what's funny is I think I probably would have rated it higher, but like I said when we were talking before the show, I had a really hard time binging all eight episodes.
Yes.
Is it 8? Yeah. I had a really hard time because the entire first half of the season takes place over like a day and a half, maybe 2 days. And so we had a lot of like overlap where we were seeing the same things kind of over and over from different people's perspectives. And I kind of had a hard time focusing solely on it. And so it really, really lost me overall. This was something not made for Netflix. This was something that was meant to be watched week to week to week. And so binging it was very, very difficult. So that brought down the rating for me. I really enjoyed each episode individually, but having binged it over the last day and a half, it's just a little mind numbing. So, and plus, like I said,
the opposite for me.
Yeah, but you said you fast forwarded too.
Well, I was going to rate it a little bit lower. I was going to rate it 3.75, and I ended up going up because when I watched the first 5 again, I liked it a little more. But I fast forwarded through certain parts that I knew were coming. But
yeah, but how many times have you watched the episodes since they aired? Was this your first rewatch?
This was my first. Well, normally because I throw the party at the bar, I would watch it at the bar, but then I would watch it again that week because I know I miss something.
Yeah, see,
so
and
I would normally watch it twice, and then this is the first rewatch.
I really kind of had to try and pay attention to the rewatch because I hadn't seen it since watching it live and podcasting it for the show. So I don't mean to be a downer. Like I warned you guys, I'm super salty tonight. So, well, I'm super salty in general this past couple of weeks. I mean, like I said, I really liked each individual episode, but just having binged it, it was very, very difficult for me. So yeah, there I go.
I'm going to predict Diane's in the middle.
I would like to just say that straddling the fence leads to splinters, and sometimes that's not very comfortable. So I rated it 3.78 out of 5 of the cold and impolite, which was one of Simon's awesome lines.
I love that guy.
So I actually found that I didn't have trouble binging it because it was such a short period of time. I did find that there were parts where it was kind of repetitive, and I agree with what you were saying before we signed on tonight, Marnell, which is that there are definitely some places where they could have edited and made it a little tighter.
Right. But like I said, this was not made for Netflix. It was made to be watched week to week.
But there were also tons and tons of layers and things that I uncovered watching it in a binge that I would not necessarily have seen and didn't see on the first watch. So I really feel like it was both beneficial and to some degree painful to binge it.
So we're gonna need tweezers to get the splinters out of it.
Exactly. So, what was your favorite episode of the season, or the first half of the season? Then,
me?
Yeah, Tom, you go first.
I really loved 2 of them, but the one that I think was the best. I mean, it was probably one of the best episodes the last couple of seasons. was Big Scary You, the episode
Really?
with Negan and Father Gabriel.
Yeah, the one where we kind of saw things from the inside of the Savior's compound.
Yeah, I just thought, and a couple of weeks ago, Seth actually came into the bar where I was
I
at,
saw that.
and I even told him, we were talking, and I even told him, I said, listen, the first half of the season wasn't the best, but that episode blew me away.
Yay! I bet he felt really good about that.
Oh yeah, no, he had a great time that night. So yeah, that was my favorite episode.
Awesome.
What about you guys?
Well, mine, I'm going to take over for a minute.
Go right ahead.
I'm going to be a little salty. I actually was
boy.
the same way. I actually loved a couple of them, and I have to say it was between some guy, because I'm on the Father Ezekiel train, or Father Ezekiel, where the hell did that come from? The King Ezekiel train, and the very last one, How It's Gotta Be. And I ultimately picked the last episode because it was just heartbreaking.
Actually, some guy was the second one for me.
Was
that
it?
was the one that was the one that I was fighting with.
I really liked that episode a lot.
Yeah, that was a great episode.
I'm such a rebel.
I
I love
gonna
Time
pick an
After.
episode from like season 4.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I love the pilot.
Actually, I'm going to predict that I love the next episode the best, even though I haven't seen it.
Wow, you want Carl to die.
Nice.
I really liked Time for After, and
Because
I know.
the naked crafting.
No, and there was a couple of scenes. I loved Winslow 2.0, obviously, but I loved the scenes with Eugene and Dwight, and Eugene making the glider and Dwight fighting. And when I rewatched that, I'm like, and somebody else pointed this out, and I can't remember if it was you, Diane, or if it was my other half, or somebody else pointed out that Eugene was recording for scientific purposes during his, he was going to do the glider with the iPod.
It wasn't me. I noticed it for the first time tonight.
Okay, and so, where is that recording, and is that going to come in somewhere with Dwight betraying the Saviors? So, I really love that episode, and there was an amazing fight scene with Sasha. She got to do a sword fight,
No, not Sasha.
Wait, Sasha died.
Not Sasha. Sorry. I'm looking at the synopsis, and it says Sasha, but Michonne. They're talking about Sasha's coffin, and Eugene going and fighting the iPod. But yeah, I'm sorry. Michonne gets to do some sword fighting, and it's amazing. And even her foe in the scene was just an amazing, strong character, female character for me, where she yelled to the other guy. She's like, get the truck out. I'll take care of this. And it was just, I don't know. That episode really resonated with me.
Which episode was it? What number was it? Do you know?
It was number 7, so right before the.
Oh, that's the one? Is that the one Larry Teng directed?
Mm.
The guy that you knew.
The guy that I used to work with.
Yes.
I don't remember.
I think there
It
was.
is. It is.
Well, there
Larry
you go.
Teng directed. Yep.
I remember too, because that was one of my least favorite of the season, to be
Oh,
honest.
that's funny. I
I
loved
haven't
the
seen him in
callback.
forever.
I loved the callback with Rick fighting Winslow 2.0 too. I hate the Garbage Pail Kids and Madam Trash Heap and all that, but I loved Rick fighting Winslow 2.0 and a couple of other really cool scenes in the episode. So, and there were some horrible scenes in the episode. I hated the perfectly timed Tara and Daryl hitting the music truck.
There was too coincidental.
Yeah, and there was a bunch of scenes like that for this whole season for me, and so we'll get into that. But yeah, I liked A Time for After.
I'm just gonna say, and I'm gonna say it now, and it's a comic book spoiler in 3, 2, 1. They are the Whisperers. I'm convinced that Jadis is Alpha.
Mm,
It's just too close. The language, the speech, the whole...
Well, there are rumors.
Are there?
There are rumors that I read. Nothing, I don't know anything that people don't know.
Sorry, I keep hitting my poor... my ridiculous microphone. Okay, go ahead.
But there's rumors that all the garbage people are going to be killed. Except for Jadis.
Okay,
and she's going to be so upset that she shaves her head and she becomes Alpha.
Okay. Well, certainly the way that she communicates now is the way that Alpha communicates in the comic book. So
this is not a spoiler. If you go and you watch the trailer for season 8B, and you break it down, there's actually a really good breakdown on YouTube by a channel called thewalkingdeadexplained.com. He does a couple of really, I watched a couple of his videos, and he's got some good theories. He does really great breakdowns. But he broke down the season 8B trailer, and there is a scene where Jadis is sitting on top of a giant heap of trash, and she looks like she's in like this white nightgown, and she's crying. And then you flash to basically kind of you're looking over her shoulder down into the middle of the trash heap, and there is a whole bunch of zombies that look like the trash people. And then they kind of flash on a scene where Simon is holding a gun to one of the trash people's head, talking to Jadis. And so his theory, which I subscribe to, is that the saviors are kind of like, yeah, you betrayed us for the last time, and they go in and they kill everyone but her. So I think your theory holds water, Thomas.
Well, I read it somewhere. It's not my theory.
I have to tell you, how on earth can you tell that the heapsters are zombies? They already look like zombies.
Right. They're a little bit paler, and their hair is slightly less oily.
They weren't making
oily.
their bird sounds.
But yeah, no, they look like they're trying to climb up the trash heap to get to her. So, yeah.
Okay.
But,
I feel vindicated.
In the next 8 weeks.
Right.
And so that's why I'm like, oh yes, like Jadis kind of gets her comeuppance without her like dying and maybe she does die horribly, but maybe she becomes a whisperer. But yeah,
Jadis is Alpha. I'm completely convinced. You just convinced me more.
I'm still slightly holding out hope for Madison to become Alpha.
I hope Madison does not become Alpha.
Oh, it would redeem her in my eyes, because I would love to see the rise of a villain. We talk about how, Negan probably was the hero of his own story. And so I would love to see Fear the Walking Dead's Madison become a villain. It doesn't even have to be Alpha. It doesn't have to be a Whisperer. It could be any villain. But I would just love to see them take that direction with that show. Anyway.
I would love to see Morgan shove his stick through her mouth and kill her.
I was just thinking they have to do something with Fear to make it worthy of them getting Morgan.
Right. So, they did confirm, this is way off topic into Fear territory, but they did confirm that there will be a time jump. So Morgan will be exiting season 8 Walking Dead and going directly into season 4 Fear the Walking Dead, and there will be a time jump for Fear the Walking Dead. And the guy on YouTube, walkingdeadexplained.com, he did a really good breakdown of the timeline of Fear the Walking Dead and the timeline of Walking Dead, and how in Fear the Walking Dead, the dam explosion, spoiler alert, sorry if you watch Fear the Walking Dead, which nobody does, but
except us.
If it's on day 64 of the zombie apocalypse, which is the same day the CDC explodes.
Oh, that's kind of funny.
Right, for a frame of reference, that's where we're at in Fear the Walking Dead is day 64, and he does a breakdown of we're in day 600 and something in The Walking Dead, so there is a massive time jump for Morgan to go to Walking Dead, Fear the Walking Dead. So I don't know how that's going to play out, and we're going to be in a whole new location with different people, and so yeah.
But I just thought of something now. Then when Rick met up with Morgan in Clear, and Morgan made his statements about he was with people who were wearing dead people's faces,
right?
Which is like the
that's
Whisperers,
what the Whisperers
I guess.
do, yeah.
Right.
So then, how can Jadis become Alpha?
She can take over.
No, but so far down the line, like that happened years ago when he met up with Morgan.
Yeah, but we're so off the source material at this point. I mean, we're losing Carl. That's huge. They could go anywhere with this now.
Oh, that's true. I guess she could take over the group.
Right.
But...
And that's such a subtle reference. You get it, but I didn't remember that. I remembered it now that you brought it up. I'm not sure that many people would remember it.
No, yeah.
But what a cool reference.
This knows.
Right? Now the Biters people know.
So we oh no, you had your question, right?
Well, so I was just going to ask you guys, who do you think was really the dominant figure in the first half of season 8? I have my theory. I have my preferences.
Marnell, you want to go first?
I'm having a hard time. I really don't think there was one. Because we were so spread out all over. If you had to hold me down to one, I would actually say King Ezekiel.
Huh.
He had such a magnanimous role and such a horrible fall in this first half of the season. I mean, he made grandiose speeches and he led people to victory, episode after episode. And, he won Carol over to the point where she was calling him Your Highness. And, and then he hit rock bottom and, tried to dismiss Jerry and got everyone killed. And then he comes back in the very, very end to try and sacrifice himself to save the day and save all of the Kingdomers that were left in Kingdom. And, I think, did we see him get himself captured, or was that sort of pending?
No, I think they captured him.
Okay,
so
yeah.
too.
So I really think he was my main center of this first half of season 8.
Huh. I'm on the Ezekiel train, and I didn't think that.
And I want to say Maggie. Like, I want, and Rick has always been the one, and Carl's dying, but really, I think it's Ezekiel. He lost Shiva, for God's sake.
So now you're getting into mine.
Oh.
Because I was thinking when this question was brought up, and I had the same thought. It's not one person.
Mm-hmm.
I thought this whole season was about the leaders. Like
you
had Ezekiel,
very
Maggie,
good.
And Rick.
The widow, the king, and Rick.
The king, the widow, and Rick.
Yeah.
Yep.
They each had their own big storylines going on. And I mean, like you said, Ezekiel had all of that. And then Maggie, I mean, I'll get into it later with my grid, I guess, but Maggie had the entire last episode, I think, was like Maggie centric. Aside from Carl being bit. But I think all three leaders, that's what it was about. It wasn't so much on the other characters in those groups as it was on them.
Well, I'm going to be quite pedestrian. I was going to say Maggie, but I'm going to jump on your train, Thomas, because I think that is a really good observation.
Yeah. It was hard to pinpoint one single person this half of the season.
Well, that's why I'm here. And I couldn't use my Baby Judith line already because I did that before the show started.
You totally could have used your Baby Judith line. It would have still worked. We were the only two that heard it.
Yeah, but it wouldn't have had the same effect.
She's not a baby anymore. She's like 8.
Right? Even though we're only, what did you say? We're 600 days in, which basically means 2 years, right?
2 years, yeah.
Right.
So she's like a giant 2-year-old.
Yeah.
Well, look at, so we're 2 years in, and Carl went from being like 3 foot tall
Right.
and 10 years old to now being taller than Rick with a beard and like.
Yes.
You know, which is actually I've heard like some people speculate that that's actually one of the reasons why they are killing him off is he is.
Oh, that's what I said.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So he's just aging too quickly for the character, and I'm like, okay, we've suspended belief that it's the zombie apocalypse. Maybe it's having some effect on puberty. I mean. Like, you know, boys at 14 were going off to war 120 years ago.
No, but it's really bad. Like, if you look at a picture of him in the first time you ever see him,
Right.
and now
he's such a baby.
You can tell there's 10 years difference there.
Yes. And I love the little tidbit where they keep having to make his hat bigger and bigger to make him seem smaller by proportion.
Yeah.
I love that. That's such a cool effect. And like, it's so inexpensive but effective.
I wonder what size that hat is now. It's got to be like a sombrero.
Yeah. In season 1, he had Sheriff Root's hat, Diane.
Right. And it was huge.
Oh, that's funny.
So we're going to do our goods?
Yeah, let's go ahead and launch into our goods. So it sounds like you two have a very similar good, so I'm going to take it. I'll go first. And my good is pretty simple, but I just really liked the Shakespearean references and the Shakespearean imagery. And I really just thought that the whole depiction of Rick as Henry V was right out of Kenneth Branagh's interpretation of Henry V, which was a huge movie in its time. And I really still feel like I need to go back and watch it. But I was especially looking at like the scene in the field during the first episode, and actually Ezekiel even quotes directly from Shakespeare and says, "For he today that sheds his blood with me shall be my brother." So my sister. Right. I just really, really thought that was very elegant, and I appreciated that they did it. So a simple good.
You have to love Shakespeare.
There you go.
You have to love King Ezekiel quoting Shakespeare.
Yes.
True. Well, I love King Ezekiel quoting any. He could read the phone book.
I was watching an episode of Talking Dead tonight, just kind of had it on in the background as I was getting ready for this, and I was like listening to the tweets, and someone tweeted, I need King Ezekiel to narrate my life.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
He's the present day Morgan Freeman.
Yes.
So Marnell, what's your good?
I think it's the same as your good.
How do you know what my good is?
Because we talked before the show.
Well, you kind of made a reference a few minutes ago.
No, I didn't. I don't think I gave it away at all.
Ah, okay.
You're going to be surprised.
He changed it in the last 3 minutes.
Nope. I have it written down.
That's right. He's actually got notes. You're the one who's freewheeling, as it were.
You're the bee that's swimming in the water backwards with salt.
The margarita, thank you. And actually, I am drinking white wine, but so no, I loved Lauren Cohan this episode or this season. I loved Maggie. There's some talk, and all it is just talk. I'm sure it's just contract posturing at this point of Maggie not coming back for season 9. Of course, season 8 has already been shot, but I love Maggie's character. Not just that she's taking charge and she's willing to put a bullet in somebody, point blank to send a message, but that she's conflicted about it. And just, she is a leader. Even Rick said in one of the episodes that, after this, he's going to follow her.
Yep.
And the Real Housewives of Alaska, we love a strong female lead. And
Except Madison.
Never would have guessed. Never would have guessed that. Diane's profile picture is Wonder Woman.
My My Twitter profile picture is Betty Page in her devil costume. So, I loved everything about her this season, except for the fact that she's like 3 years pregnant and still has a flat stomach.
Hey, it's only been 3 days.
Yeah, I know.
No,
But
it's been who knows how long. She's got to be in her first trimester.
She is,
got to be, because they were able to do an
Right.
ultrasound.
Right, and she joked about in one episode, the first episode, I think, where you can wage war up until your second trimester, or up through your second trimester.
I think she
that's
said
right,
through the
yeah.
second trimester. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I don't know. It feels like it's been so long since Glenn has died, and she's come so far, but she's not she does not look pregnant.
And so it's been what, like 21 days, 22 days?
Right?
Since Glenn died.
Right.
Right. 3 or 4 weeks.
And he was alive for the first little while she was pregnant. So
yeah, we don't know when he poured the Bisquick.
I was totally thinking the same thing.
Oh, cheers to you. That was awesome. But yeah, so no, her pregnancy thing aside, I absolutely loved. I mean, and she was so methodical about it. Could you do me? It's asking Simon, could you do me one favor and leave me the box? And she doesn't bury the guy that they killed. I think his name was Neil. She doesn't bury Neil in it. She takes out one of the saviors and then writes a note. And we see in the season 8B trailer that they send the box to the saviors, and Negan gets it, and they bring it into the room. And if you slow it down or pause it or anything, you can see Negan actually taking a nail gun to the head of the savior that's in the box. So she sends a walker to Negan as a message. And I love everything about her this season, and I really hope that continues in the next half.
Although, layers.
Uh-oh.
So I'm not saying that I didn't love Lauren Cohan. I did. She was great. But one of the things that I really was watching that became so apparent throughout the binge was, Jesus and Tara kept going back and forth.
Uh-huh.
And the whole, oh, well, I've got Rick on my side and he'll back me. Well, I've got Maggie on my side and she's noble and courageous and she won't do bad things and she'll back me. And then what does she do? She takes out a savior just like that.
That's because Jesus was so wrong. I'm like, who are you? Like, where did you come from? You're not the Jesus I know and love.
I bet Rick is going to do the opposite. I bet Rick is going to have the mercy.
Yes. Because of Carl and his letters. And what was his thing at the beginning where he's like, give me strength to over.
It was
may my mercy be greater than my wrath.
Yes.
There you go. Yeah.
Yes, I think, you're right. I think Tara and Jesus have it backwards.
But layers, so it was just interesting to me to have Jesus continually defending Maggie and saying, how noble and great she's going to be. And then what does she do? She just shoots that guy point blank and says, who wants to be next for the bullet?
Yeah, she did what she had to do.
Yeah, no, I'm not blaming her. I thought it was really cool. And it was just a nice facet of Maggie that was brought out in building her character. Yeah.
So, Thomas, what was yours?
All right. So you kind of touched on mine, but when I was watching it, I couldn't sit there and pick one good thing throughout the 8 episodes. So I went with the performances of there's a few characters. Ross Marquand.
Oh,
in the episode when Eric died.
Yeah.
Monsters. Yep.
Seth Gilliam in the episode with Negan when they were trapped. Lauren Cohan, like you just said in that episode. Kari Payton in the Some Guy episode.
Yes.
And the one that totally I mean, and I love the guy. I've never played Grand Theft Auto. Stephen Ogg in the finale, in that scene when he comes to Maggie in the car.
Yes. Howdy,
was
howdy, howdy, or something like that.
So incredible.
Yes.
He's like, we're all tired. We don't want to do this. We can do this to eat. And it was just mind-blowing.
I
He's
love
so-
Stephen Ogg.
He's so
In
charming.
yeah. Oh, and he's such a snappy dresser in real life. I love him.
And it's just like all those performances. I mean, Ross totally gets me.
Yeah.
Like, I know Ross well, and just he was so heartbroken in that episode.
So I was actually, that's so funny. That was actually going to be my bad for a while. Because, if you've listened to the show, I thought that Eric was going to be a turncoat. I thought he was a bad guy. I didn't like Aaron with him, because we all love Aaron. And when Eric died, I was just like, and then shambled off. Like, nobody, gave him any peace. Like, he just shambled off into the woods by himself. And it was truly heartbreaking. Like, and Aaron's reaction to it, I mean, just... I had a really hard time. Like, why am I so upset over this? I don't even like the guy,
And then Aaron taking baby Gracie.
He's totally going to raise Gracie.
And
he
then
was begging for her.
And then the scene where he and Enid are going to Oceanside, and he looks over and he just sort of there's a catch in his throat, and he remembered that him and Eric used to go out on runs together when they were searching for people to bring to Alexandria, and that was always where Eric sat, and now Eric's not there anymore, and just the whole thing. I mean, I'm actually getting goosebumps. The whole thing is just so heartbreaking.
Eric wouldn't have shot Cindy's grandma either.
No doubt.
Way to go, Enid. Oh my God. I don't know how we're gonna make good on that one.
Enid did kind of blow it, didn't she?
Oh,
I'm really curious to know what happens in that scene, because I met Sydney Park, the girl that plays Cindy.
You had mentioned that to us.
I met her. I forgot where I first met her. Boston, I think I met her, and then I saw her in Philly, and I saw her in Atlanta, and we've actually become friends. So we text each other back and forth, but I know not to ask.
So if you watch the season 8B trailer again, I will refer to it. If you break it down,
I honestly haven't even seen it.
Right, I'm thinking here you are with all these trailer spoilers, and I'm like,
they're not spoilers. You can see them in the trailer again.
I know, but some people don't like watching the trailers.
By the time this episode is published, it'll be a day or two until you see the actual episode. Chill out.
By the time this episode is published,
we'll be through season 8.
Starting.
Yeah.
Right? So anyway, there is a scene where Enid and Aaron are kind of hugging in the woods, and there's also one scene where Enid is screaming out no, and it's probably the scene where they tell her about Carl. So I think Enid and Aaron will survive the whole Oceanside thing. I think they've probably screwed up their chances of having Oceanside help us. But
no, I think Oceanside's going to help.
Yeah, we've got to get Oceanside involved somehow.
I don't know. You murdered the matriarch.
Yeah,
I think Oceanside is going to help. I don't think many of them will survive the war, but I think they're going to try and help.
Something will happen to make them help. I agree. We're not just going back there with no purpose.
Well,
I'd be willing to bet that Cindy doesn't survive.
Considering I think we've lost all the trash people to Simon Carnage.
Please to God, this is what I say to you.
That we are going to need some more cannon fodder, because we are almost completely out of Kingdomers.
You're terrible.
I sculpt you after.
Salty.
You what?
I sculpt you after.
Right? Oh. God, she's creepy.
Oh, that was so horrible. I love it.
It was horrible.
It was horrible.
All right, so that was my good. Those performances.
Very good.
So are we on to our bads then?
I think we are.
I think we are.
Well, so my bad was Morales. And I'll tell you why.
Darn it!
It was because it seemed like it got so hyped, and maybe I just hyped it in my own head, but it was such a letdown when they took him out so quickly. I felt like, I don't know, I just felt like they could have made more of bringing that character back and bringing that actor back, and I was very frustrated by that. Coitus interruptus in extremis.
Yes.
I mean, I see it a different way because I wasn't expecting him to show up. It was a pretty good secret, I think, that he was in that episode.
I was actually expecting him in Fear, so it was such a pleasant shock. But
when he showed up, the way he was acting, he had a gun to Rick. So I mean,
but I think the whole thing was wasted. I mean, it lasted like 3 minutes.
I guess I expected them to hug it out.
Well, the show always does the unexpected.
There you go.
Okay, so I'm going to jump in with my bad because my bad involves Morales. My bad, to quote Big Red, loose ends make my ass itch.
Well, it's not a loose end anymore.
There was a whole lot of stuff that just, like, it was so hyped, and then it just went nowhere. So you had the Morales thing, like, I think they could have taken that so many different directions and utilized that character for longer. I mean, I don't think it could have gone on forever. You know, we know that Morales' family died and everything.
Damn you, Scott M. Gimple. Okay, sorry.
And then old Rick, the whole hyping the dream sequence and old man Rick and everything.
Yeah, that was kind of weird.
That was all for nothing. So when I watched,
but you don't know. I don't think you know.
You don't know
about
it's all for nothing.
Man Rick yet.
Yeah.
No,
yeah,
and that was part of my whole irritation with binging it, is watching it. You know, episode 1 through 8. I felt like that was really wasted, and it pandered. And
I'm thinking you're really wasted at this point.
Yeah.
No.
Keep swimming around your margarita.
Just keep No, but I really think it was one of those that they shot that entire dream sequence just so they could put old man Rick into the trailers for season 8 and
they
fool us all.
totally did. Yes.
Yeah,
but you don't know. You won't know until you see these last 8 episodes. That might all come back.
No, because Carl's alive in that.
Well, right, but you don't know. But you still don't know what that whole sequence is.
And the thing is they also say Carl's got like more to his story. I mean, they said that on Talking Dead. That was the episode I was watching tonight.
Well, no, Carl's gone. He's
done. But I think
they can show flashback. We're going to see a lot of flashback.
I don't think you're going to see him at all.
They're going to make a lot out of it in the premiere episode of the second half.
Watch the trailer.
Please go ahead.
Who knows what that is? For all we know, and I'm not saying this is going to happen. No one send me death threats. Rick could die by the end of this season.
Maybe it's his death hallucination.
That could be it. I mean, you don't know what it is.
Maybe it's Rick going to heaven.
I felt very pandered to in the first episode with Old Man Rick, and my other like loose end bad was the helicopter. What's with the helicopter?
It's intentional. They're definitely going to do something with the helicopter.
But even with the season 8B trailer, there's no hint of it at all. And the only thing, spoiler alert for comic book fans, 3, 2, 1. One of the scuttlebutt is that the next big bad, which I do not believe this at all. Like, I think we're like 3 seasons from this being the next big bad, is a group called the Commonwealth.
Oh, I don't know them at all. I am not that far along in the comics.
So
I've never read the comics, so I don't know.
Okay, so the helicopter would make sense if the Commonwealth is the next big bad, but I don't think they are, because it's huge. It's going to be a much larger budget. It's going to be way bigger.
Can you remind me which episode had the helicopter in it?
Time for After.
Time for After.
It wasn't the premiere. Okay.
No.
All right.
So that was just there was a lot of storylines that just felt like they went nowhere for me, and that was my bad. And Morales was one of it.
All right, Tom, it's your turn.
Well, my bad is one particular scene which I hated. It didn't look right when it was shot. It didn't feel right when I watched it. The fight between Daryl and Rick.
It felt like it was totally sandwiched in. It was just kind of thrown in.
Yeah.
It did not look like these guys were
into it.
It just didn't. I mean, maybe it's because I know that they were good friends in real life, but it just didn't seem like it was a fight. Like,
No.
they had different opinions on something, but then all of a sudden they start punching each other, and it seemed so staged.
Headlocks are illegal, a-hole.
I did like the choke. No, it's chokehold.
Chokeholds, yeah.
That's what it was. Chokehold.
I did like the callback.
Yeah.
But the fight in itself,
Right.
I mean, and it's the complete opposite of the fight between Morgan and Jesus.
Right.
Yes.
That fight I thought was perfectly done.
Yes.
And you can see those two going at it. But
Yeah.
Rick and Daryl, it's like they would never punch each other. They would never get that mad at each other after all they've been through.
They were like a couple of pissy teenage boys.
Yeah, and then the thing's about to explode, and they grab each other and they run away together.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that in The Talking Dead they did talk about that, where it was like brothers fighting, how they're not really meaning to like legitimately injure each other, but they are looking to get a few licks in.
I have a brother, and we always tried to legitimately injure each other.
Oh,
So
trust me, Thomas.
I don't buy that.
Sisters do too.
Yes, I remember being chased by someone with a butcher knife.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I used to chase my brother down the street with a wood log, swinging around.
And you said, Lucille!
No, I was the young one, so I could do whatever I wanted to him. If he hit me back, my mother would yell at him because he should know better.
Okay, and so you're talking to the youngest of the sisters and the oldest of the sisters,
Right.
So we both know this story very well.
Exactly. So I just that was, I think, the worst scene in the first half.
Yeah, I think that was thrown in there just to, yeah.
It was
there's some
gratuitous.
ludicrous things. There were some ludicrous scenes, like Rosita when she shot the guy with the rocket launcher.
It was bad, but it was funny.
It was fun.
It was like B horror movie good.
But a rocket launcher, I don't think would
do
blow
that.
someone up
No.
like that. It would hit the person, and they would fly backwards, and then it would hit a
I don't
wall.
think it would. I think it's like the gas tank explosion in movies, where it's like that wouldn't really happen. It doesn't really explode on impact.
But those were at least entertaining. The Rick Daryl fight, I don't know. I did not like from the start.
Yeah, I got to agree. That was definitely in my rotting potpourri as something that I didn't like.
Yeah.
So that was definitely my bad.
Yep.
Well, my bad was Morales. So now I'm going to ask, did you have a good ugly or a bad ugly?
For me?
Yeah.
My ugly was a great ugly.
Okay, go for it.
And it's going to be so apparent when I say it that I chose this. But in the 100th episode, the whole recreation of the opening scene.
That was awesome.
I mean, shot for shot, it was the same exact thing. Even Carl putting his hat down the way Rick did in the opening scene.
And the way he got down on the ground. Yep.
Every single thing was, even the cars that were around looked like the cars that were there. And
the
then
gas
to cap
can
it off,
and Summer.
the walker Rick sees when Carl walks away was Addie Miller.
Yep.
And she was in the makeup that looked like Summer, but a little different.
An aged Summer, like she, like 2 years on.
Several
it
years
was, well,
on.
Yeah.
it was an older person with a mouth wound.
Yeah.
It wasn't
Right.
supposed to be summer.
No,
Right.
not at
But-
all. But it was totally a callback.
Yep.
But
Nice
I
little
also,
Easter egg.
when I had my viewing party for that episode, I actually had Addie Miller sitting next to me
Oh,
when
nice.
we were watching it.
And she had a great picture on her Twitter, I think, of her in her makeup when she was little and her makeup now.
Yep.
Right?
I
Yeah.
have that picture. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
She was pretty excited because she kept telling me, and her mom kept telling me that they really want to come up for the premiere to watch the premiere at the bar, and I'm like, all right, great, and then now we know why.
Right. That's very cool.
Yep.
Yeah, she was pretty excited. So that was my I mean, there were so many things that I could have chosen that would be ugly goods or ugly bads, but I mean that opening, it all goes back to the opening scene.
Yeah,
Very
and
cool.
I had forgotten about that. That's awesome.
Yeah, and it's still tattooed on my leg. So
Hard to forget.
Yeah.
yeah, so that I had to choose that one.
Very cool.
So you guys are up.
Well, mine is pretty long. Do you want to go next, Marn?
Okay, good. Mine is short.
Is it
so-
good or is it bad?
It's bad.
Oh, geez. Well, I
Uh-oh.
guess you did rate it really low, so...
I did, and my bad is I mean, it's always my bad whenever it involves the trash heap people. Why are we still trusting them? Why are we trying to get them on our side? Like, I know why, because they have guns and people for cannon fodder and things like that. But Rick he took such an out of the way side journey and
such
like,
a risk.
right?
And
Such
by
a risk
himself.
by
Yeah.
himself. They locked
Why
him
would
in
you go by yourself?
They locked him in a container and made him sweat it out and threatened him and made him fight Winslow 2.0. And it really, I'm just like, why? Like, they were content to just be out there on their own, having betrayed both sides. And like, I don't think that they were going to be like doing anything for the saviors. Why try and get them like, so I'm just like, why are we still dealing with these people? I'm so happy with what I saw in the season 8B trailer. So yeah, that was my bad ugly is I'm just like, why are we still dealing with the trashy people? There you go.
Scott Gimple, answer that.
Damn you, Gimbal!
Even Mr. Yamamoto, Emperor Yamamoto didn't like it. He barked during that.
Emperor Yamamoto has been, I think he's getting more and more senile.
He doesn't
I hope we're talking about a dog.
Yes, we are.
It was the dog that barked.
He is the Emperor, although we have the Batmanuel now, and she's amazing. So
Was Yami barking at Batmanuel?
I have no idea, because the husband has one job to keep the dogs quiet. And is he failing at his one job? Of course he is.
Oh.
So my
So what
ugly,
was your ugly?
it was a good ugly, and it was just looking at the themes that were really brought up. So it was kind of the same thing that you did with your good. I wanted to think about several different things, and I thought, there are some recurring themes that came up that really grabbed me, and one of them was the theme of mirrors. So you brought it up, Tom. The mirror that of Rick seeing Carl go through his same steps in the opening sequence. There's that moment where Rick literally has to look at himself in a mirror over Gracie's bed, and he realizes what a horrible person he has become. He realizes how he's acting. King Ezekiel gets a mirror held up to him, and his ultimate conclusion when he has that Dahmer lookalike who is his mirror is, I'm just some guy. I'm not the king. I'm just some guy. And then Carl actually holds up a mirror to Negan and says, is this who you wanted to be? And that was what tipped Negan over the edge and made him start blowing things up in Alexandria. So the
That's
theme,
right.
So the theme of mirrors was really interesting to me. And then the other theme that I looked at, which I really got into, was the whole theme of a journey or the traveler. Because we had two references to travelers. We had Sadiq, who was called the traveler, and then we had Eugene referring to everyone from the Alexandria group as just fellow travelers along the road.
Yeah,
not actually
companions.
Yeah. And so I looked up kind of the symbolism of traveling, and I found this amazing quote by this guy who I should probably know who this is, but I don't. I'll admit it. His name is Martin Buber, and he's a philosopher and a theologian. And the quote was, "All journeys have secret destinations of which the traveler is unaware."
Huh.
Which I thought was really salient to the whole first half of this season. And then I looked at, it was the same website. It was a website that was kind of looking at the symbolism of travel in the I Ching. And the person who was writing it said, when we engage in travel, a segment of our life comes to a close, or we're making plans for new adventures. And there are three kinds of travel. We have travel away from, which is usually to avoid danger or to run from problems we've created for ourselves. We have travel towards something, which is typically a conclusion. It sometimes involves sacrificing yourself to a higher purpose. Does this sound familiar? And then travel due to curiosity. And the person who was writing this essay put seekers, wizards, and wanderers in that last category of travelers. So
Wow, Biters is getting really deep.
Well, and I'm going to get just a little deeper. So also, if you read tarot cards, the Fool, who is the kind of the main character of the major arcana, which are the big symbolic cards in the deck, the Fool is on a journey, and his journey symbolizes unlimited potential. And actually, each other card in the major arcana is stages of the Fool's journey. And it's all about experiences and personal growth and development. And so I just thought that was super interesting too, just in terms of thinking of all of our characters as travelers.
So who do you think the Fool is?
I don't know.
Judith.
I was thinking about that tonight when I was thinking about the tarot, and I was like, I kind of felt like Eugene as the Fool.
When you said Fool, that's what I thought.
And, the Fool really goes through this tremendous journey of both good and bad. I mean, he goes through cards like the Lovers, cards like the Devil, cards like the Tower, which is this card that completely represents destruction and devastation. So
that also sounds like Dwight, though, too.
It could be.
They're on such a similar path.
Yes.
Well, I'm sure it could fit a lot of them.
I immediately thought Rick, just because he was like running everywhere.
Well, and because it's Rick.
Look at Gabriel.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's had a big journey.
Gabriel's, yeah.
Talk about growth and experience and development. I mean, anyway, that was my ugly. The themes that were brought up were just really interesting archetypical themes. So.
And that was an ugly good.
Yes.
Even when it's bad, it's good. That's the thing.
It's true.
So,
Coming from the person that rated it a 3.25.
Right.
Overall, all of the episodes rated higher individually, but like I said, I had a hard time binging. But like I said, and we've talked about this theme before of, in real life, people would just disappear and you would never hear or see anything from them again. And things are wholly unsatisfying. I mean, like I said, with all of the loose ends, that's life, and that's what makes this show so great is it's just other than old Rick, it really doesn't pander to you. It does leave you hanging because real life would leave you hanging.
Like I said, Heath,
right. Yes.
But that 24 spinoff didn't work out, so we still
he'll be back next season.
Okay. Stranger Things got Justice for Barb trending. I think Justice for Heath should be trending.
No, he'll be back next season. Season 9, he'll be back.
You get on that, Betty Rage.
I respect the hair game.
What's interesting too is he does have a part to play in All Out War, and something awful happens to him in All Out War. So him not being here he avoids that, and it kind of makes me wonder if one of the other characters will pick that up.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I heard about what happens to him.
Yeah. So he avoids that by not being here. Will it happen maybe at some point in the future in a different way, or will another character take his place, or are we just completely diverging from the source material again?
Is it going to happen to my king? I think it's going to happen to my king.
FYI,
No,
King is already dead in the comic books.
I know how the king dies in the comic
Spoiler
books.
alert.
Right?
Borrowed time.
He got beheaded by Alpha.
Yeah.
Right.
You know how I know that?
Huh.
Because there was a contest on the cruise where it's like 3 people had a competition about their knowledge, and they battled against Robert Kirkman.
Oh,
nice. You did send us that YouTube video.
And that was one of the questions.
Yeah. Yeah, but we have a lot of characters that are on borrowed time. I mean, Carol's on borrowed time. Daryl isn't even in the comic books. So
Rick's hand.
Yeah.
But Carl was not on borrowed time, and look at what happened to him.
Exactly. So anything could happen.
Which is the way it should be.
Yes, I agree.
All right, you guys, we are at 1 hour and 2 minutes. I'm just giving you a heads up, and I think that we need to maybe shelve a little bit of the rotting potpourri and talk to Tom about the cruise.
Yeah, we want to hear about the cruise.
You want to hear about the cruise? Well, before the cruise even started, first off, I know I mentioned that Lauren Cohan was coming. Like a month before, they had 2 cancellations. Lauren got a role in the movie that she's filming now.
Oh no! I mean, good for her, but bummer.
Well, Lauren and Greg Nicotero had to cancel.
Why did Greg cancel?
But because I think he had to direct an episode of Fear. I think. But they replaced.
He had
those
to.
2. They replaced Lauren and Greg with Kari Payton, King Ezekiel.
Nice.
And John Bernthal.
Bernthal.
For the clarification.
That is obviously Shane and
right.
the Punisher.
So, did you kiss Kari for me?
Absolutely not.
Did you at least tell him that the Real Housewives of Alaska love him?
No, I didn't. But before we even got on the boat, the night before the cruise, a bunch of people every night before the cruise for the last 2, we've had a party.
Oh, fun.
And people had asked me this time if I could throw the party, because a lot of people know me.
Yeah.
So I said yes, and I thought we'd get 100 people. Maybe I've never thrown a party before in my life. We ended up renting out an entire bar on Bourbon Street.
Oh,
and we had over 400 people that paid to come to this party.
Oh my God, that must have been amazing.
Open bar. There was a mechanical bull. Tom Payne and Michael Trenor came.
Oh.
Michael Trenor got on
Nicholas,
the bull,
right?
The bull, who was Nicholas.
Yes,
yeah,
okay.
Nicholas. And he's like the cruise mascot. Everybody loves him on the cruise.
Oh, that's awesome.
But he came, like, we were on the balcony of Bourbon Street, and my friend Scott Spillman, I don't know if you know his art.
Yes.
He's an artist. He does all the colorful shirts that I wear.
Yeah.
Right.
You see the character shirts. And if people don't know him, they can go to bleedingart.com. You can see all his stuff. But he created these huge banners that we had hanging, hanging from the balcony. And like we'd be out there and John Bernthal walked by with his kid, looked up, smiled, waved to people, caught some beads and kept going.
Oh, that's awesome.
But the party went till, I don't even know what time. I left at like 1 o'clock in the morning, I think. And this was the night before the cruise.
That's
So then the
awesome.
next
And on Bourbon Street. I mean, how cool
on
is
Bourbon
that?
Street. Yeah, and then
Ah,
the next day, everybody boarded the cruise, and it was kind of the cruise experience. People were still talking about the party, but
Awesome.
but it was so. I mean, first off, I will say the weather was atrocious.
No,
It
really?
was so windy
Oh
and cold
no.
and a little rainy. No one hung out on the top deck of the ship
Oh,
except for
bummer.
some of the panels, and the water was so rocky. Half the ship got seasick,
Oh no.
I could
in,
totally see
in,
that.
including John Bernthal was doing photo ops, and he was getting sick, so they had to postpone half of his photo ops because he
Oh,
was throwing up.
poor guy.
Ross
I don't know.
Marquand missed his panel.
I want a photo op with him being sick. That would be
Yeah, well,
that's a that's a Kodak moment.
Ross Marquand was throwing up, so he missed his
Oh.
panel. I
Oh,
mean, some got over it. Like at night, we would go to the nightclub, and Ross would be in there dancing with people. But sorry, half the ship, like cruisers and celebrities, were getting sick. There were some people that didn't leave their cabins for like a day.
Oh, that's
yeah.
a bummer.
I mean, didn't
I went on 11-day cruise, and it's like that. It hits people at different times. I got sick on like day 3, but like day 2 and 4, I was fine. Yeah, so I get that.
I got nothing. I got nothing. I had no problems with anything.
Yeah.
But on the cruise, I will say, Robert Kirkman did show up. The
Was
only guy I've never ever met.
was it cool?
It was so incredible. I mean, I went to the photo op before I actually met him at his table, and my heart was like pounding. We took the photo, and it was all nice, but I went to his table to get him to sign the poster that I had done for the cruise, and I asked him. I said, "Would you sketch like a walker head?" And he did it. He sat there for like 5 minutes, and he drew a big walker head on the poster for me.
I think you posted that, didn't you? Did you post a picture of that?
On Instagram.
Okay. I saw a picture of it. You must have your
And
Instagram linked to your
I
Facebook.
made on my Facebook too. But yeah, he drew a sketch for me, which was so unbelievably nice and cool. And I mean, he was very, very kind of quiet, except when he was on the panels where he joked and he talked. And all these panels, Skybound is basically releasing on YouTube. I mean,
Really?
I'll post the links
Oh,
on the
do.
Biters page,
Yeah.
and because I know they have his panel, Norman and JDM. They have Bernthal's panel. They have Alana and Tom Payne's panel, and they have that game show where it's like, do you know more than Kirkman?
Oh, fun. Very fun.
Spoiler alert: Kirkman loses.
No way.
Yeah, he lost. He was a sore loser too.
That's hilarious.
That's funny.
But yeah, I mean the cruise. Aside from the weather issues, the cruise was pretty amazing. I'm trying to think if there's anything in particular. Oh, well, the one thing, because Ross Marquand knew about my party the night before. So the first night we're on the ship, I was walking by him in the nightclub, and he grabbed me, pulled me over, and he started apologizing to me. I'm like, what are you apologizing? He's like, I really wanted to come to your party, but a friend of mine was having issues, so I had dinner with her, and it was too late. I'm like, Ross, I invited you just because I wanted you to know that you could come.
That you're totally welcome. Yeah.
I wasn't expecting you to come. You don't need to apologize. He like gave me another big hug. He's like, no, dude, I really wanted to just say I was sorry.
Oh.
So
yeah,
cool.
Ross is the absolute best. But I definitely got to remember to put those panels up on the Biters page.
Yeah, those sound really good.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and they're all like maybe an hour and a half long.
Oh, fun.
So, yeah, no. I mean, the cruise was amazing. You guys have to do it one year.
God, unfortunately, all of my travel money is being sucked up by medical bills now.
Oh yeah.
I was supposed to go on a Buddhist retreat, and I had to cancel. I was supposed to go to a Buddhist retreat in Joshua Tree, and I had to cancel at the last minute.
Well, yeah, you had to take care of your
Yeah, I mean,
significant other.
I had to be a good wife. I think they get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you couldn't really leave them.
Could you imagine going to a Buddhist retreat and being like, "Yeah, I left my husband in the hospital." It's
Yeah,
fine."
right. I bailed on my
Like,
husband who's in
oh,
the ICU.
That's the
I
Buddhist
left
way.
them on the couch.
Yeah.
With the dogs, with a million dogs. Oh, and the
What
horses.
What would Buddha do?
Yeah, he could order out.
Not in Willow, Alaska.
No.
Oh, but
Yeah.
I was gonna. Well, I guess
There is
this
no
is
Postmates in the boonies.
this kind of. I guess this you just answered this, but Marnell, you're welcome to come. Memorial. Did you see what's happening Memorial Day weekend?
What's happening Memorial Day weekend?
Memorial Day weekend in Sonoy
Oh,
on the Saturday. It's I think it's May 26th. My friend Scott Spillman again, and my friend Oscar. People know him as Oscar Red Hat. There's
yeah.
two artists. They decided that they were going to have an art show. So who did they get to join them? Well, you got Xander Berkeley is now part of it.
Oh, fun.
So he's going to be there with his art. Those two guys are going to be there with their art. My other friend Robin, who's also known as the Black and White guy, he's going to have his art up there.
Is Kurt going to be there?
Kirk couldn't go because it's just a one-day event.
Bummer.
But now it's a mixture between an art show and a small con because they have Addie Miller coming to sit at a table. They have Jeremy Palco. They have a couple saviors coming.
Nice.
They have all the and it's pretty inexpensive. Like the tickets are like $40 or $50, I think. But I'm sure there'll be other surprises because Xander Berkeley, I'm sure will have people come visit him.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's really Saturday. It's this. I'll put a link to that on the page too. But that's the Saturday of Memorial Day weekend. I think it's called Sonoy Summer Bash.
It looks like the Sonoy Summer Dead Bash, and
that's it.
A portion of the proceeds are actually going to charity nonprofits, and one of them is an Animal Hope and Wellness, which of course is close to my heart.
Yeah, actually, I think both charities might be.
RailAnimalRefuge.org also. So yeah.
Well, doesn't JDM have a big animal refuge farm?
Well, he has a farm.
Yeah.
About an hour north of where I live.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's a refuge.
He does. I think he's got. He's got his own animals. Kind of stuff.
I know he's got his own. Is it a goat? I think he might have a goat.
And there was the big story about the dog that was like his little spirit animal.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
But yeah. But if you guys want to fly to Sonoy for Memorial Day weekend,
oh my God, that would be so much fun.
Oh. That would be.
Yeah, it's gonna be a blast. I'm actually gonna be the photographer for the event. So.
Oh, nice.
So I'm getting there. I'm getting there Friday, and I'm gonna just stay till Monday night.
I don't know, man. Maybe if somebody would let us sleep on their floor, we might make it happen.
Yeah, you and how many other people are gonna be sleeping on my floor? But it should be fun. So if anybody's listening to this and you're in the Sonoy area, get yourself a ticket because it will sell out.
And support it, man.
And for those of us who are geographically challenged, Sonoy is in Georgia.
Yes, it's Sonoy.
It's like the home of The Walking Dead.
Well,
right.
Sonoy is Woodbury.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the actual town of Woodbury on the show.
Which, just FYI, that would be like a 12-hour flight for us.
Yeah, but it would be well worth it.
It would.
You could meet Addie for the first time.
There you go.
And you never know who will pop in to check out the art.
Yeah.
So.
And we could eat at Nick and Norman's,
which is right across the street
with
and I could tell
500 other people.
I could tell Xander Berkeley, who is a lovely man in real life, do not hate him on social media, how great of an actor is, because we all hate his character.
Right.
I don't know. I kind of like his character.
Whatever. Oh, that's funny.
But
That's
yeah,
amazing.
it'll be a good event. And it was called, what was it again? It was the Sonoy Summer Dead Bash. There you go.
Saturday, May 26th, 2018.
Yeah, and there's going to be vendors and stuff all around, so it's going to be like a mini con / art gallery show.
Fun.
Right. First annual. So it kind of sounds like they're going to make this a thing.
Very fun. If you're a fan of like the art, like a lot of people know Scott Spillman.
Right.
But he's going to have all his original paintings there.
Cool.
And they're like all signed by the actual cast members and stuff. So if you want to check out the actual originals, I have all the shirts, but I don't have any of the original art. He's going to have it all there.
Very cool.
And Xander will have all his original stuff there. So
come
buy art.
I didn't realize that Xander was an artist. I think that's super cool.
Yeah, Xander. I was reading. I didn't know some of the things he did, but he paints. He made like masks. He's made. I think he did like special effects for certain movies.
Huh.
Yeah, he's very talented.
I'll have to look him up. That's cool.
Yeah, I'm looking for. I've seen all the other guys' art, and it's all great, but I've never seen Xander's. So I know he did one portrait of Stephen Ogg.
Oh, cool.
I'm dying to see. I hope he brings that.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Marnell's like, yeah, and then you can buy it and send it to me, Tom.
Yeah, maybe I'll buy it. No.
I so have like an evil dude crush on Stephen Ogg. Like, I love his hair. I love his mustache. I love his clothes. I love his personality.
He's so nice, but I would just think he seems psychotic from looking at him.
That's the basis of his appeal.
Well, yes, for all you I Love Murderers podcasts.
Right. It's kind of a Suicide Squad thing.
I'm gonna steal somebody's quote and say, "Psychos don't scare me. At least they're committed."
Good quote.
Well, before we wrap it up, Tom, favorite moment from the cruise?
Oh, you always do this, and I always forget too.
Oh, shoot. I'm sorry, I put you on the spot.
No, okay, no. Well, all right. Here's one moment. Norman Reedus has his show Ride.
Yes.
And at certain conventions, he sells the Ride hats, and he, instead of having like the normal cutout in the word Ride that he normally would have, he does something for that city that he's doing the convention in. So for the cruise this time, he decided they were going to put a shark fin in the middle of the Ride logo.
Oh, fun.
They sold it. And so because I didn't have enough on my plate organizing a 400-person party and all this other stuff, decided I was going to set up a photo op for everybody that bought the hat.
Oh,
and we were all going to go in one spot and take a picture. I mean, we obviously didn't get everybody, but we have a good, I think they sold 150 hats. I think we have 100 people crammed in this one little area of the ship. Professional photographer came, took the photo. We had like inflatable motorcycles.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, and the
cool.
pictures came out so good. So I was kind of proud of myself for that.
Very good.
Oh, and the first night we were there, I was in the casino, and I put a $5 bet down on one poker hand, and I got a royal flush dealt.
Nice.
So I won $5,000 the first night on the ship.
Nice. Boy, I would have been spending all of that on bling from the cruise, man.
1,000 to 1 odds. Yeah, well, Uncle Sam took 25% of it right away.
Bastard.
So, but yeah, those were probably two of my favorite moments. But
nice.
I mean, seeing all the people, I know all these people for 3 years now, and just seeing them all and seeing everyone happy at the party the night before. I mean, people were like cheering and screaming, and it's just a good feeling.
Very cool.
Such an amazing life.
Yes, live vicariously through me.
We do.
Absolutely. Yeah.
One of these years, you're going to be on the cruise.
God, someday.
And you'll be able to find me. You'll look for the guy with the Scott Spillman shirt, and you'll know it's me.
Very cool.
So, yeah, it was a good time. We're all just waiting now to hear when the next one will be.
Nice.
Very cool. I have a shout out to a new listener who liked us on Facebook. I don't know if she's a new listener, but she just liked us on Facebook, and she gave us some very positive feedback on our picture that we posted when we podcasted together.
Oh, cool.
In person. I'm going to say her name is Vera C, because I can't pronounce your last name, Vera. And she gave us a really lovely compliment on our picture together. Aww. So I wanted to say hello to you, Vera. And just give a good plug to Southgate Media Group. They are the hosts of our podcast. So you can support them on Patreon and go and look at their southgatemediagroup.com and look up and see if you want to listen to any other podcasts about shows that you watch.
Like Preacher.
Like Preacher.
I've heard of that.
Dianne and I will be finishing up season 2 soon. Season 3 will hopefully be coming out, I think, in June-ish, maybe. But we also do Fear the Walking Dead for biters, so we will continue to do that in the off season of Walking Dead. But I also just started listening to an Orange is the New Black podcast from Southgate Media Group. So if you just started watching a show, look for a podcast you can binge while watching that show. So southgatemediagroup.com.
And I think there's a fair chance that we're going to end up resurrecting our American Gods podcast. You, me, and Kat.
Yep.
So
seeing if we can do that.
Because I have nothing.
Fear. I'll do Fear.
Oh, seriously? We'll have you on. No. Come
remember,
on.
I gotta do the bad, and worst.
The Frankenstein zombie moment.
We'll have you on if they ever kill off Madison.
That episode I want to be on.
That'll be your victory party.
That will be my good, my bad, and my ugly all in one.
Good ugly.
So,
that's awesome.
Well, this was fun.
Yeah, it was good to talk to you. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been like 7 months.
And premiere.
I can't wait. The show starts up this week.
Yeah.
Sunday.
We get to see poor little Carl.
Oh, and he's going to be on.
Poor little 12-year-old Carl.
Right. And he is going to be on Talking Dead after Chandler
Of
Riggs
course he is.
Oh, well, I figured.
No, I mean, they specifically said that he was going to be one of their guests. So,
Well, I guess, they couldn't go with a surprise guest because everybody knows who it's going to be.
Right.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Well, awesome.
Are we going to try this close?
Marnell and I have been listening to Love It or Leave It with John Lovett, and I really like the way he does his stuff.
What do you mean?
He just kind of talks over the other podcasters. They'll be like, just remember, take it. And he'll be like, one day at a time. Take it one day at a time.
Yeah.
Don't get bit.
End of episode. We're done.
All right, everybody.
Just remember.
Take it.
Take it one
day
at a time.
Enough.
End of podcast.